Everyone. Today we're talking about marketing essentials for startups. And specifically, I have 5 marketing essentials that I think that every startup should put into place, regardless of how early they are in their development. It's important to have this in place so that you're setting yourself up for success later. What I find most often in startups, especially very early stage, is that there is no marketing person in charge of anything. It's usually, anybody who's on the team who does this as a side job and doesn't know where to get started. And there's so much content out there. There's so much information about what you should do and what you shouldn't. And a lot of it I find jumping the shark a little bit, putting things into place that is difficult to do if you haven't put the foundations in place, the pillars of what you need to build your marketing practice on. So in this blog and in my written blog as well, so check it out over there too if you want more detail, is how do you put together these pillars. And specifically, let's talk about 5 of them. So let's jump in. For the first one, I really think it's important for the startup to start out by identifying who their target audience is. And this may seem like, all of these may seem like things that you may think, oh, this needs to obviously be put in place, but so many companies jump over the target audience discussion very easily. And that's one that you shouldn't ignore, because everything that you do after that is going to be built on knowing deeply who these people are that are not only going to be the buyers of your solution, but who's influencing the solution, who is influencing the influencers, who you need to get on your side in order to even build your brand. So when we're talking about a target audience, at least when I'm talking about it, I'm not just saying your buyers. I'm talking about who are the analysts, who are the press that you should be influencing, who are the companies that you will be ultimately selling to, who are the companies, if you're particularly a B2B and you're working through the channel, who is the end customer that you're going to be selling to, because you have to have messages for all of those. So at this early stage, as you're talking to your people about building your business and the different companies that you're working with, whether or not you're building a partner infrastructure in order to sell, you need to start documenting who it is that you're talking to. Who are the people within these companies that, or influencers, who are the people that are actually going to be moving the needle for you? So are they, what are their titles? What responsibilities? Companies all have different titles. So it's changed very dramatically in the last decade. There's new titles, there's old titles. Looking at the responsibility of the person is more important. How high they are in the hierarchy. Are they users? Are they going to be the one signing the check? So you need to document all of that across all of those different audiences, because those are the people that are going to ultimately make you successful. So that's step 1. Step 2 is obviously building a website. This is your first salesperson to the world. It's your primary salesperson. It is the biggest way that most customers or a target audience members are going to become familiar with your company. There's lots of other things that you can do, obviously, but step 1 is building that website. So don't get too fancy here. A lot of companies I see investing $40,000, $50,000 on building a website, even when they're very early stage. And that isn't necessary. I think there are a lot of tools that you can use that are very simple, even if you're not a design expert, to build a website that is clean, concise, and compelling, that tells your story very easily. So don't get too complex. Don't think you need all the bells and whistles at this time. Just the basics so that people can come to the website, they see it's nice and organized and everything, and that tells your story. They immediately know who you are. So make that a priority. That's step 2. Step 3 is embrace social media. Even if you're not comfortable getting on social media and commenting or posting things, you're a keyboard warrior, right? You're behind a keyboard. It's easier to do that, to post messages, to comment on something else of a person who's in your target audience, on what they have posted. But use social media. It is the number 1 platform that people are going to find out about you. So don't hesitate to use it. Make sure you have, if you're a B2B, a LinkedIn page that you can post to on a regular basis. And I offer more information in my blog. There's also email marketing. So a lot of people are going to say marketing is dead. We're moving all to Slack and all of these very live communication channels. But a lot of those are not open to your target audience. So a lot of ways that we can communicate directly with our target audience is to build an an email marketing database. And the idea of this, if you do it early enough, is that eventually you will try to convert a certain percentage of those people who are opting in to receive emails from you into customers. The larger the database, the more opportunity you have to sell into them. And they are asking to get information from you. So once you start building an email list, and this can be as as easy as putting a button on your website that says opt in or get information from us or something like that, that captures very basic information. Don't go too fancy on this or people won't fill out the form and hit submit. So I would suggest at the very minimum a first and last name and an email address. You can always ask for more information later on, but capture that so that you can send them messages about, where you're going to be and if you're attending an event. Oh, we had this, this breakthrough in our technology we want to talk to you about or tell you about. Asking them questions about your business and the industry, because typically the people opting in are going to be interested in what you're doing. So give them that information and also make it two-way. It's a great way to build an audience, a community, and to get information from them. And finally, the fifth pillar is content. This is probably the most difficult one because you're likely not going to have anybody who's dedicated to content, but you can build a couple of different pieces that are going to be critical for you going forward that you're going to use a lot. For instance, what do you do? What is your 1 to 2 page paragraph on what your company does, especially as you start interacting with your influencer marketing or influencer target audience, people who want to have you at events or that want to interview you for podcasts. You have to have that description, and you shouldn't wait until the last minute to put it together because then it's not going to be done very well. So make sure you at least put that together. As your technology is coming together, a data sheet on what the specs are, what it does, what questions it's answering for the audience, problems it's solving for those audience members. You're going to use that kind of asset a lot. So don't, there's only a couple of pieces that I think are very critical in early stage, but if you have them in your back pocket, it's going to make it a lot easier, and you don't need to invest a ton of time in it. You can always iterate and improve it later, especially as things start to gel in your business and you start understanding more closely who your target audiences are, what resonates with them. You can make modifications, but at least have some basics in mind. So those are my 5 tips for marketing essentials for a startup. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff that you can add on top of this, and that will likely be a follow-on conversation for this, but I want to focus on startups for now and what they need to build their business, especially if you don't have a marketing person in charge and you're the technology guy or you are assigned to do marketing. I'm here to help. So take a look at my blog, and I also have a free guide if you would like to download that. I just need your first name and email address, and it's free to you. So download that. It goes into a lot more depth than on some of the topics that I just talked about. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.